Hello everyone, welcome to Easel Live. It's a beautiful Friday here in Chicago and we are talking fidget spinners. Now, some of you here probably already know what a fidget spinner is, but fidget spinners are actually a new phenomenon here in our office. Our CEO, Zach, recently went to California a couple months ago and visited with a family out there and talked to a kid, and the kid was like, yeah, I need help making these fidget spinners. And Zach was like, what's a fidget spinner? And a few Google searches later and a lot of experimentation, and here we are. Everyone in our office now has a fidget spinner, and we're all playing with these things through meetings and when we're talking to one another, and they just sort of like, they take over our lives a little bit. So if you're new to fidget spinners and you're wondering, what is a fidget spinner? Why would I want one of these? The short answer is, I don't know, but until you really pick one of these up and you start playing with it, you'll actually find it's an incredibly gratifying feeling to just have something in your hand that you can play with. A lot of people use them as an antidote for screen time. So if you find you're checking your phone really frequently, you're tapping your feet under your desk, or just kind of like moving around a lot during the day, fidget spinners actually help focus a little bit more. Just by giving your hands something to do, you find your mind is able to focus a little more clearly. So since we have sort of discovered fidget spinners here at Inventables, the variety of fidget spinners we've had in our office has been pretty remarkable. So we have everything from, our little cheese fidget spinner that my friend Sam made to this really cool mandala-inspired fidget spinner that my friend Michael made. And we also have the fidget spinner that I'm going to walk you guys through today, which is my 8-bit Mario fidget spinner. I'm like really proud of this fidget spinner. It's not the most balanced fidget spinner, and it doesn't go very fast. But by showing you how to make this, I think that you guys will get a better understanding of how to make your own fidget spinners and utilize your own designs. And there's a reason we want you guys to do all this, because we have a really exciting contest going on right now that we hope everyone will get the chance to enter before the end of March. And I'll walk you through that at the end of the session today. So before we get into the challenge itself, let's walk through how to make a fidget spinner. So hopefully you're logged into Easel. If not, take the time, go ahead, go to Inventables, log into Easel, and I'm gonna go ahead, get there myself, and we're gonna walk through how to make this Mario fidget spinner. So here we are in Easel, and the first thing I'm going to do is import my Mario image into Easel so that I can use that as a base for getting started. So I'm going to go up here, I'm going to go to import, and I'm going to use image trace to import the fidget spinner that I have. So I'll go ahead, I'll upload the file. I've got it right here on my computer. And I'm going to import two different files, because first I need to make the shape itself, and the second one I'm going to use as the image that will be on the fidget spinner to create the kind of shape. So to start off, we're going to go ahead and import this one, and we're just going to leave it at the original size. We'll have a giant 8-bit Mario here. That's okay. And now I'm going to import my second Mario image. But this one I'm going to import a little bit differently. I'll drag him in, and because I want to get this set to an outline, the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to bump up my threshold to 100% or 99%, so that what I'm left with is just this giant block showing the shape of Mario. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually do trace outlines. So when this imports, it's only going to be importing with the outline of the shape that I have. And because I'm going to import this directly on top of the other one, you can see that what happened was it imported directly onto my other shape, which is exactly what I want. So first what I'm going to do is, let's go back, let's change my material really quickly. The material I'm going to be using today is going to be 2-color HDPE. This is a great material for fidget spinners. It carves really quickly, and we also love it because of the two-tone that you can get by carving down past the first layer. And next I'm going to just make my material size is going to be one of our 6-inch tiles that we have. So that's oh yeah, gotta fix this. The 6-inch tiles that we sell, you'll find these also come in our mosaic tile kit if you're familiar with that product, but you can also buy these tiles on our site just as they are. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to set the depth of this to, so this is going to be the shape of the design that I'm carving, so you can see Mario's face and his sweet, very authentic overalls. I'm going to go ahead and set this to 0.03 inches. So what that's going to do is when I carve out on my, when I carve my Mario fidget spinner, what I'm doing is I've used a piece of white on red HDPE. So in carving that 0.03 inches down, I'm going to reveal this red. You can see here kind of the two colors that come on this HDPE. So by carving the first white part of that product down, I'm going to reveal this red underneath. That's how I can get those two colors. All right, let's go back in Easel and let's continue making that fidget spinner. So I'm going to set that to carve down, but I need to make sure that my outline is set to cut all the way through the material. Now, for fidget spinners, we do recommend using tabs. And you can see my tabs have already imported here. And tabs make it really easy to make sure that nothing goes wrong with your fidget spinner when you are carving it out, because you need to make sure that those bearings are going to fit really precisely. Otherwise, you're not going to get that really gratifying spin whenever you use your fidget spinner. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to scale this down so that my little Mario here is ready to rock and roll. There he is. So you can see this dotted line indicates my material size, and the whole shape here is indicated by the wasteboard. In this case, because I'm on a carvy, I've got my smart clamp here that I need to make sure I don't carve inside of this area. If you're using an X-carve, you will not see that on your wasteboard, but again, I've got Easel set up to design with carvy right now. So that's why you're seeing this red smart clamp here. So I've got Mario here, but now I need to import the holes that I can use for the bearings. So again, I have to thank our awesome developers here at Inventables for creating the fidget spinner app. We've had this for a couple weeks now, but we've made some changes that I think you guys will find really interesting to be able to make and customize your own shapes with the fidget spinners. So there's a few different things here we need to set in order to use the fidget spinner app. One of them is wall, one of them is arm length, and one of them is number of arms. So if you're new to fidget spinners, it's a little bit tricky to say maybe what those parts are. So I'm going to go ahead and use this little example here to show you what the different parts are on the fidget spinner. So the first one that we need to know is going to be arm length. So that's basically the distance between the bearings on each of the arms. In this case, this fidget spinner has 3 arms. The arms are indicated by the number of bearings off of the center bearing. So in this case, this is our center bearing, and there are 3 bearings on the outside. So this one is a 3-armed fidget spinner, and the arm length is indicated by how far apart these bearings are from one another. The other piece of terminology that we need to know is wall, and that wall is just the thickness of the wall on the fidget spinner surrounding the bearings on the arms. So when you set the wall length, you're not only going to be changing this distance from the arm bearing to the outside, but you're also going to be setting the wall distance between like this little cranny here between the arms. So that's off of the center bearing. So those are the terms that you need to know when you're making a fidget spinner. In terms of what we recommend for these settings, it really depends on a lot of factors, but most importantly, the thing to kind of keep in mind is how big your hand is. So I have not very big hands, so I like to have fidget spinners that have thinner walls and the arms are closer together. But you will find that if your bearings are a little bit further apart and your arm length is a little bit longer, that creates a better momentum for when you spin the spinner. So if it's possible to use longer arms, that would be great. But it's also, if you are making these for your kids or for people who have smaller hands, keep in mind that you want to make sure that the bearings aren't so far apart that you can't actually spin it in your hand openly like this. You can see how it kind of clears the gap in my hand. So if you make your arms too long, you'll find you're hitting your hand and it's not good for for fidgeting or spinning. So try to keep it so that the bearings are good for you. And it does require a little bit of kind of experimentation, but I mean, that's kind of the fun of carving, right? All right, so we'll go back in. I'll show you how I set these different materials in for my fidget spinner here. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and just import a standard spinner size. So in this case, the wall is 0.25 inches. The arm length is just 1 off of this bearing. It's more of a 1 is kind of like the standard that we recommend, but if you want to go greater than that, you can see how, how far apart these move, or if you want to get them closer together. You don't want to get them so close that they're touching. We try to prevent that by having there be a little bit of material between the bearings, but you can override that. So just use this image as an indicator of how close your bearings are to one another, just to kind of get some spatial arrangement in your head. And again, arms, in this case, I'm going to use 3, but if you'd like, you can go up to 4, or I think you can even, get really crazy and find a way to add in a bunch of arms if you really wanted to. So again, the arms indicate how many bearings you're going to have off of the middle spinner. So in this case, I'm just going to go ahead and set this back to the standard size here, and I'm going to import the shape. Now, a couple things happen when I import the shape. For one, it put it right over my Mario. I don't really like that, so I'm going to move it over here. But the cool thing is that I don't need to keep this outer shape at all. So I'm just going to select that, and I'm going to go ahead and delete that off of my canvas. So that way I don't have to worry about it. But what's nice is I have my 3 bearings set up in the exact arrangement that I want them to be on my spinner. It's really, really important, and I cannot emphasize this enough, that you should not adjust the size of these circles under any condition when you are making your fidget spinner. Right now, these circles are designed to be used with 22 millimeter bearings. So there are bearings that have 22 millimeter diameter running across them. So those correlate to the bearings that we sell on our site. So you can use these with the bearings that are for sale on our site right now if you'd like. But if you find bearings elsewhere, just know that these circles are designed to be used with 22 millimeter bearings. Now, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to scoot Mario. I guess I'm going to leave him right here, actually. But what I have to make sure of is when I import my Mario, you see right now, if I were to carve this out, as indicated over here in my preview pane, this is not really going to make a great fidget spinner because my bearing is sort of off to the side of Mario, and he's interfering with the bearings. So it looks like I need to make Mario a little bit bigger. So I'm going to select all the shapes of Mario here, and I'm just going to use this to scale him up a little bit, just like he's eating one of the power mushrooms or whatever. So, all right, so now he's a little bit bigger, and you can see from my simulation that there's a little bit of leeway here. I might just want to make him a tad bit bigger to make sure that I'm able to clear all of these parts really easily. You don't want to get your bearings too close to the edge of any of the sides of your material, or you find that they might break. I had that happen with the first Mario spinner that I made. Was this part here was just too close to the edge, and as a result, when I was putting the bearings inside the spinner, I had some difficulty with that, and the edge actually broke. So in this case, it looks like there should be enough clearance here so that my bearings fit all right, and they don't break my spinner, and they still work. And it looks like I'm looking at about a 4-inch tall spinner, indicated by the measurements here on my wasteboard, and that's a pretty good size. And I think that that's going to make a well-carved spinner. So that is the gist of how to kind of get started with a spinner if you wanted to make a fun shape. I know I had a lot of fun making my Mario spinner. I had no idea what I wanted to make and decided to make an 8-bit Mario, and it worked out really, really well. My friend Sam, like I was saying, she made this spinner with the cheese icon in Easel, and again with the same concept. So you can see how this material is also 2-color HDPE. It's our yellow on black HDPE, and she carved down just part of the shapes so that she could get the sort of the iconic cheese look, but also still be able to put one of those bearings in there. So fidget spinners, if you're a professional fidget spinner, you really do value a well-balanced spinner and something that is the weight is distributed evenly and it spins for a really, really long time. I mean, that makes for a really gratifying fidget spinner, but I'm kind of more of the notion of making things kind of fun and quirky. So that's how I ended up with my Mario spinner. And what's nice about the Fidget Spinner app is that I can still make something like this where the shape is not symmetrical, but because the bearings are placed in a way that they are well balanced and distributed evenly, thanks to the Fidget Spinner app, I can still use this spinner and it still spins pretty nicely for not being a symmetrical shape. So that is the advantage of using the Fidget Spinner app, and one reason that I would encourage you to do that. But if the fidget spinner app is not really your thing, or you're interested in making something that's perfectly symmetrical and really well balanced, I'm going to show you how to do that now as well. So we're going to make a second spinner, and I'm just going to go right back into Easel and show you a different way that you can use the fidget spinner app to make a more custom shape for yourself. So I'm going to go over here, click on Easel, and I'm going to make a new project. And I'll set my material again, 2-color HDPE. I'm going to use an 1/8 inch bit still, and I'm going to set this to be the same as my other one. So I've got my design pane here that I'm going to be working in, and I'll just go ahead and I'll get that set up for you as well so you can see that. So here we are, and get all set up. And the first thing I'm going to do is import a shape from the fidget spinner app. So I'll go back into here, into our apps library, and go to the fidget spinner app. And again, I'm just going to use the standard size for this particular application. And just like last time, I'm going to go ahead and delete the outside shape. Now, before we go any further, I want to show you guys something new that we've implemented in Easel that is really, really helpful for making this app, and that is our pinning feature. So our developers have created this really cool tool that allows you to pin a shape directly onto the work area in Easel. So in this case, these bearing holes, I don't want these to move while I'm designing my shape, because right now they're perfectly aligned to keep my spinner symmetrical and well balanced. So I'm going to go up here into Machine, and I'm going to go into Advanced Settings. And you can see I've already enabled some of our other beta features. If you're interested in adding these beta features into your Easel account, you can simply do so by checking these little check boxes, and you'll get those all added in. If you're looking for more information, there are these little question bubbles that pop up that you can check out. And I think we also have some support articles catered around some of these different capacities as well. So in this case, I'm going to be using the pinning shapes feature. So I've got that activated. So I'm going to go ahead and close this out. And you can see now when I go into the shape menu, I have this little pin button that pops up. So what does this do exactly? Well, I'll show you. So let's say I want to go ahead and pin this shape. So right now, you can see the pin button has been activated on this particular shape. Now, if I select all these shapes and I say, I'm going to move them all over here, you can see everything moves except the one shape that I have pinned onto this spot on my design area. So I'll undo this. So one reason this is helpful is if you're trying to build a project that requires you to move parts around parts that you don't want to move, this is a great way to keep the parts that you don't want to move in place. So that's exactly what I'm going to do here. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to pin all of these shapes to my work area. Go ahead and select them. I think I need to unselect this guy first, and then I'll go ahead and pin everybody down. All right, cool. So you can see now if I try to click and drag and move these shapes, they're not going anywhere. They're going to stay exactly there, which is precisely what I want. All right, so the spinner that I'm going to show you guys how to make right now is, again, it's just a way to get started, but it's going to be something along the lines of this. This fidget spinner was made by our friend David here at Inventables, and David, this spinner goes on for a really, really, really long time. He actually put tungsten in the edges, so you can see here how there's not a bearing. He's actually weighted it with tungsten, which is remarkable, and also makes for a spinner that just kind of keeps going and 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 going. But what's cool about this is he taught me a trick in Easel to make a design like this, which is symmetrical, that doesn't require you to import a shape or design a shape in an outside program. So let's go ahead, go back in Easel, and I'll show you how to make something that's along the lines of this propeller-shaped spinner. So going back here, and what we're going to do is I'm going to start by making a rectangle. And my goal here is I'm going to basically create the 3 arms by using this rectangle shape. So my rectangle, I'm going to use the size here and just sort of set this to a size that I want to fit around the bearings. In this case, I'm going to make my rectangle 1.25 inches wide, and it's going to remain at 2 inches tall. Now you can see if I move this to the back, that all this really does is give me a square fidget spinner shape, but I really like David's rounded design. So I'm gonna change my corner radius here. By the way, if you've never played around with this, this is a feature that I've just started experimenting with as well, but it allows you to create a specific radius along the edge of the corners of a shape like a square. So in this case, I'm gonna go ahead and just set that to half an inch on my corner radius, and it gives me this really nice looking shape that has kind of similar to David's curvature on his design. You can also, set it to be a lot more curved if you're interested in that. But in my case, like I said, I'm just gonna stick with that half inch. So what I'm gonna do next is use the align tools to make sure that this rectangle shape is perfectly aligned over my design here. And you can see now, since I selected multiple shapes here, and I've used the align tools that pop up to keep everything centered down the middle of the shapes. Now what's cool is because my bearings are pinned to the material work area here, I can set these to move to any place, and it's going to be the rectangle that moves. Notice how the bearings don't move when I use the align tools. It's only the bearing that's moving, which is pretty cool. So I've got this all set up, and it's centered vertically on these bearings. And now I'm just gonna scoot it up so that the bottom part of my rectangle is at the bottom part of this bearing here. All right, cool. So I've got one of my arms set up. Now I'm just gonna use Command C and Command V and just copy and paste an identical shape onto the work area here. And what I'm gonna do next is I'm gonna rotate this shape to 120 degrees because I'm working with 360 degrees and I've got 3 arms. So each arm is gonna be 120 degrees off of the other one. I'm gonna go ahead and send this one to the back as well. And I'm gonna use this to, let's see, I'm gonna move it forward one shape so I can see the full outline here. And now I'm gonna use this to align in a similar way to my other arm. You can see I've got the bottom of the rectangle on this edge of the bearing, and then I've done my best to center it through the center of these other shapes. So there's my second arm. Now I'm gonna copy and paste this shape, and I'm gonna set this to 240 degrees, since that's another 120 degrees away. And I'm gonna send it to the back, and then I'm gonna pull it forward 2 steps so that it's on top. And I'm gonna use this to align as well to the bottom of that bearing. All right, so you can see from looking at this design and by looking at my preview menu over here that I've got an outline of that shape that I want to carve. Now, one thing that's important to notice is that, again, because these shapes are all done in gray and black, I don't actually want to carve this particular shape out because all that's going to do is give me these bearing holes cut out and then the shape just carved into this material. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna select all 3 of my arms and I'm gonna go ahead and combine those. And now that they are combined, I can set this to cut on an outline, and you can see when I cut all the way through now, I'm gonna get that exact shape that I want. So if I simulate this, you can see that what my material is going to cut out is going to be the exact fidget spinners that I want to carve. You can see the tabs showed up here as well, but some of these tabs are not located in the best area. If you find that when you're using tabs, they don't end up in an ideal place, like a corner or on a circular edge, feel free, you can just click and drag, and you can move them to a spot on your design that's going to be easier to remove once the design is cut out. So that looks pretty good, pretty well distributed. And that's gonna be my second fidget spinner that I can carve. Now, the other thing that's cool about this kind of technique is, let's say you wanted to make something like David's spinner, where instead of using a 22mm bearing, he used tungsten. So you can also put in a different shape here if you wanted to use some other kind of weight on the arms of your fidget spinner bearings. And as long as you use the angle rotation here, that 120 degrees, or however, if it's a different increment, if you're using a different number of arms, then as long as you keep that rotation the same and keep those off of the center point the same, then you can definitely go ahead and you can use those to create fidget spinners of any kind of shape. So the one last thing I want to talk to you guys about is going to be the challenge that we have going on right now that is open to everyone, and we hope that you will participate. You have the opportunity to win not only a $5 Inventables gift card, not a $10 Inventables gift card, but if you work really hard, you can win up to $115 in Inventables gift cards. And this isn't some contest that you enter and then we select somebody. This is open to everyone, and just by submitting, and as long as your design meets the criteria that we have posted on our site, then you will get a Inventables gift card for your work. So what's cool about this project is that, yes, I've shown you a lot of fidget spinners today that involve bearings, but it's open for designs of any kind of fidgeting device. So for instance, my friend Sam, you might remember Sam from our gear video, because we learned a lot about gears when we did that Easel Live. This is a fidget spinner that Sam made that is just made out of a bunch of gears, and it's cool because you can fidget with it in a couple different ways, and it's kind of got a lot of versatility in terms of what you can do. And it still qualifies as a fidget spinner because, I mean, I personally am fidgeting with it right now. So keep that in mind when you're doing, trying to develop a design for the contest, is that you're not limited to using 22mm bearings. You're not limited to using our products. You're limited to pretty much just making sure that it's a fidget spinner and that it fits into some of the other rules that we have. Namely being that this has to be something that you have created and it's not a duplication of somebody else's design. So we want to see what you guys have to contribute, and hopefully by the end of the contest, we will not only have one of the largest, most diverse groups of fidget spinners found anywhere in the world, but you will also have in your hands some Inventables gift cards that you can use to make future purchases on our site. So let me show you really quickly how you can access the contest, because that is certainly the most important thing about doing this, is you have to know how to enter. So I'm going to go to inventables.com. And now on inventables.com, you can see the very first thing that pops up here is a fidget spinner challenge. I'm going to click Learn More. And here is the challenge page for our contest. So the very first step and the very first way you can earn an Inventables gift card is design your fidget spinner in Easel. And just by sharing your screenshot in Easel, you will earn an Inventables gift card. This means you don't have to own a machine in order to win an Inventables gift card. All you have to do is sign up for an Easel account if you don't already have one, design your fidget spinner in Easel, and then share your fidget spinner down here with all of our other fidget spinners that we have. And then if you carve out your fidget spinner design, you will earn a $10 Inventables gift card on top of your $5 Inventables gift card, meaning you've just earned $15 to spend on the Inventables site. And if you're feeling really up to the challenge, we have two, I don't want to say challenging challenges because that sounds lame, but they do require a little bit more brain power to figure out how to get those fidget spinners to work. So if I click here and I visit our full contest details, you can see that these are all of the fine print, so to speak, of this fidget spinner contest. So all of the contest submissions will be judged by our friend Jason here, JDM. He will review them all and make sure that they comply with the designs, which is that it is a unique fidget spinner and you did use it in Easel, or you did create it and carve it out in some other way. So level 1 here, like I was saying, you'll earn a $5 Inventables gift card simply for posting your Easel file and sharing the screenshot by submitting your entry here on this site. The second level would be go ahead and carve out this design, take a picture of it, and submit that, and you will win a $10 Inventables gift card. The third one is find a way to light up your fidget spinner using an LED. So when you spin the spinner, the LED will light up, and when your spinner is at rest, the LED will turn off. So we are really interested to see, you can see this is actually JDM's submission that he had done for winning the fidget spinner contest that we posted a few months ago. And we really want to see how you guys come up with lighting up a fidget spinner that moves, and then when it stops, it turns off. So by completing this level of the challenge, you will earn yourself a $50 Inventables gift card on top of your level 1 and level 2, assuming that you submit for level 1 and level 2 as well. And then the other challenge we have is a full 3D card fidget spinner. So this is a little bit different than 2.5D. It does mean that you need to be able to have different kinds of contours. There's actually a really good post that sort of shows the difference between 2.5D and full 3D. But something like this, if you're going to be doing a full 3D carve, including flip milling, if that suits your fancy, you will also earn a $50 Inventables gift card as well. So by completing all 4 levels of this contest, you could win a maximum of $115 gift card to the Inventables gift store. And really, it's just because we are really interested in fidget spinners, and we really want to see what you guys are able to create with these challenges that we have. So if you have any questions about how to enter the contest or anything about fidget spinners, obviously we are not experts, but we are we're rapidly approaching that title. So feel free to reach out to us. You can always get a hold of us at help@inventables.com. We should be on the chat for a few more minutes if you are interested in doing that. And you can also give us a call at Inventables too, and the customer success team will take care of you. The one last thing I wanted to point out is if you're feeling like you're not exactly sure where to start or what you need in order to get started making a fidget spinner, we do have a fidget spinner kit for sale on our website. So if I go to the Inventables homepage here, and if I search for fidget spinner, you can see we have a fidget spinner kit for sale. It includes a piece of clear acrylic, which acrylic makes for really, really well spun fidget spinners. And then we have 3 pieces of our HDPE, and it comes with a bit and some bearings that you also need to go ahead and make a couple different spinners. So I'd encourage you, if you're looking for a place to get started, that's a great way to, just for 20 bucks, you get everything that you need in order to get rolling with your fidget spinners and start creating, and hopefully start winning some more money that you can use in the Inventables store. So again, my name is Mo, and thank you for joining us here in Easel Live. We should be on chat for a few more minutes, but you can always reach out to us at help@inventables.com. Appreciate everyone for joining us for our fidget spinning today. I hope you all come back next time when you're watching Easel Live, and I hope you're all playing with one of these in your hands while you're viewing the video. So thanks again for joining us, and happy carving, everybody.